Hi, Dr. Garrity. I wanted to respond back to you because I found that your video were a lot of the same thoughts that I had, and so I just kind of wanted to have a little interaction with you about it because I thought it was interesting on how you commented on the mother and father figure to because I had commented on that as well in my video, and I actually created my video before I even watched your video, and so it was interesting that you felt like you needed to say something about that because I felt like that was important as well. Growing up in a two-parent household, I feel like I know the importance to me or the impact that had on my growth and my change as a person, versus some people who I know who's some of my best friends whose parents are divorced and we're typically developing. So I can only imagine the impact that can have on a family, especially on the parent who is having to pull all of the weight, especially the first mother who had, Sam and Alex versus just one client, or not client, versus just one child who has a progressive disorder. Sam and Alex's mom also mentioned something about how nobody would, I don't know if she said God, but I think she said no one would allow this to happen. There's no way in the world that this would be allowed to happen to us again. So it makes me wonder if the father was there, but maybe he didn't want to interview for the video. Or maybe maybe they got divorced, or like I said, maybe he just didn't want to interview for the video, but that they have time to grow from one child to the next, and how all of these are considerations, and that everything is so time consuming, especially dealing with two children. But overall, I just think it's very sad because it is time consuming. And when does the mom ever get me time? We all need me time. We all need a break from life. And it just seems like it's very sad because she's having to suffer as well because she's never been through this before, so she doesn't know what the right answer is. And that adding that extra human element and that extra support person for her, even if that person isn't necessarily pulling their weight as much as she is, if he is a part of the picture, then that still helps versus someone who's not even there at all. I've been seeing, or August to November, and then January to April, I saw one client in particular whose mother always brought her to therapy, and one time I kind of always wondered that because she never mentioned being married or having a husband or anything. No, actually one time she did say she wasn't married, and so she worked, but it was part-time, only when the daughter was in school, and she was in school 4 days a week or something like that, but not the full time in school because she was in the access classroom or special needs classroom or whatever. And so basically there was no father figure. But one time her boyfriend showed up to therapy, the mother's boyfriend showed up to therapy for this 7-year-old, and it kind of gave me as a clinician a little bit of relief because I was man, woman to woman, this has got to be so hard for you. And so like I mentioned before, and I think you and I have talked about my situation at home. Sure, you can probably see some toys somewhere. There's a helmet, but I think it would be a lot harder for my situation if I wasn't here, or if I had a child of my own who was typically developing. So it doesn't matter if they're typically developing or not, it's going to be hard. So I can only imagine adding that extra element like you mentioned about having a disorder. It's just got to be really difficult on a person. And so that is one thing that I'm glad that we touched base on and that people are thinking about, because it's just, it doesn't stop at the door. and it doesn't stop at therapy. They have to like continue doing it at home, and just because you see them for an hour once or twice a week doesn't mean like it's going to get any better while they're at home. So the learning is constant, and it's good to become aware of these things so that you can learn how to improve as a clinician, but also to improve on your counseling techniques. So I've been trying to work on that with like some of my other clients, for family members and for parents, and even just for the clients themselves. It's definitely a good thing to keep in mind that they're the ones that are having to go through this every day. But anyways, I just wanted to comment on your video. All right, see you in class.